Okay, I'm going to talk you through this example here. It says soccer players probably have 0.8 scoring a penalty. In training he takes 5 penalties. So we let x be the number of penalties that he scored, so that's the variable that we're considering. Now x follows a binomial with n is 5, because it's going to take 5 penalties, and p is 0.8, because probably him scoring is 0.8. So we can just add in here, p is 0.8, which means then that q is 0.2. So he can either score or he can miss. Now the first thing we need to do is build up the algebra. So starting off here, because n is 5, that means we're going to use the fifth row of Pascal's triangle. So we need to write out Pascal's triangle until we get to the fifth row. So there we are at the fifth row, and that's what we're going to use. So then the algebra we use is p plus q to the power of 5. So it starts off at p to the 5, that's 1 p to the 5, then 5, he's going to score 4, so he's going to miss 1, so p to the power 4, q to the power 1, then 10, p cubed, q squared, so that's scoring 3 and missing 2, 10 p squared q cubed, because that's scoring 2 and missing 3, then 5p q to the power 4, and that corresponds with scoring 1, missing 4, and then finally q to the power 5, so that's missing 5. So that's the algebra that we need. So we're set up now. So the first question being asked is, what's the probability he scores no penalties? So to score no penalties, that means that the probability that x is naught. So just look back at the row, that means q to the power 5, so it's this one here we're talking about. So we'll just say q to the power 5, now we know that q is 0.2, so it's 0.2 to the power 5, stick that in your calculator. First of all, you'll get this fraction, and then just press SD, and that's the decimal. Second bit, what's the probability that he scores 2 penalties? So probably that x is 2. So x is 2, just write it down, proper notation. Look for what you're looking for, so it's 10 p squared q cubed, so it's probably that he scores 2 and misses 3. So substitute in, so it's 10 times 0.8 squared, because that's probably him scoring, times 0.2 cubed, because that's probably that he misses, and then that should give us 32 out of 625, which is, press SD again, 0.0512. Then back to the last part of the question, what's the probability that he scores more than 3 penalties? So more than 3 is the probability that x is bigger than 3. So if he scores more than 3, that means he scores 4 or he scores 5. So we'll work out the probability he scores 4 first. So probably he scores 4 is, go back and look for the row, so it's this one. There's 5 ways he can do that. So it's p to the power 4q. So p to the power 4 is 0.8 to the power 4 times 0.2. So that gives us this fraction, 256 out of 625. Then we look at probability of scoring 5. So 5 is this option. So to score 5, it's just p to the power 5. So it's 0.8 to the power 5. So it's score 5 times. So you stick that in your calculator. You get that fraction. Add the two fractions together, and then that gives you that answer. Okay.